people who take walks at night. What's the scariest thing you've seen? There was one night where a car stopped up the road. A girl got out, yelled for help, then got back in and they drove off. I have no idea if it was serious or not, considering she got right back in the car. Potential mugging trap. Have a car close, helpless little lady as bait and bam. A well-meaning, upstanding member of society gets shoved in the car, robbed of everything and dumped in a completely different part of town with no means to call for help or police. During winter in a rural no-cell service kind of area, completely dark, no streetlights nor anyone in sight. Temperatures were around 20 and it was snowing. I was walking my dog with a flashlight. Then I heard someone start screaming bloody murder. Flight or fight kicked in. It truly sounded like someone was being stabbed to death for what seemed like forever. I chose to find out what the hell was going on. What I found instead was beyond anything I expected. He was a 5-year-old boy wandering down the road all alone. All he was wearing were light flannel pants and a thin t-shirt, no shoes or hat, and screaming so loudly it echoed through the hills. I dropped my dog's leash and walked up to him slowly, gently and repeatedly telling him that I'm a mom and that he's going to be okay. I wrapped him into my arms and carried him to a neighbor's home to warm him by the fire and call for help. Edit, the boy's parents were visiting friends. The boy got up at night to look for his parents, who'd left him and his sister home. While they were out drinking, he got lost in the dark and just kept walking and screaming. Originally thinking I'd get in the crosshairs or witness some bloody domestic fight is what put my mind in the scared shitless headspace. Plus dark, no cell phones, no weapon. He was so lucky to have been found by you. There was a story near me a few winters back, where a 2-year-old girl got out at night in their new house, just started learning how to unlock doors, and she didn't know how to get back inside. A neighbor thought they heard crying and regretted not investigating further. The girl froze to death on the stairs behind their apartment. Yeah. A coworker found a kid sitting in front of a house while delivering. It was freezing and she was in PJs. Called the police. Turns out the kid locked herself out while parent was out on drugs on the couch. Probably was looking for help since father wouldn't wake up. They took the kid away. To this day that couple stares daggers at my coworker when he passes by. What was he supposed to do? Let the kid freeze? I'd be staring daggers right back at the POS couple. Holy shit, I've got one for this. Grew up in Japan, not too small, not too big city. Worked a job that had me coming home daily at 2 to 4ish am daily. I preferred to walk the back street that paralleled the main street home because it felt more cozy and peaceful. Nothing of note happened until one day. I turned the corner onto the side street and about halfway down there was a young woman. She wasn't doing anything, just staring at the sky. Staring straight up, neck at a 90-degree angle, mouth slightly agape, long black hair hanging. I hesitated but decided that, since nothing weird has ever happened here before, it'd be fine, so I went to walk by. I get up next to her, it's a narrow road so not a lot of room to maneuver, and pause to look at her. She hasn't moved or reacted to me. She's just staring away. So I fight my instincts and ask her if she's okay. She doesn't react. I look up to see if she's looking at something but there's nothing there. So now I'm thinking there's something medical going on. So I reach out and touch her on the shoulder. She jolts and looks at me like she's just noticed me. I ask if she's okay and she just stammers and says sorry before hustling down the street the same way I was headed. I decided to smoke a cigarette to let some distance get between me and her, but towards the end of the street, she stops and stares at the sky again. Doesn't move for the whole 5 minutes it takes for me to finish my cig. I walked down the main street for the next couple nights. I almost got kidnapped near a train station. Some dude drove up to me hella quick and insisted that I was some missing Canadian child and that he'd take me home. Coincidentally, a motorcycle cop happened to drive by, and immediately pulled over after I waved him down. He approached the guy in the car very aggressively and told him off. The cop didn't arrest the guy or anything, The guy apparently told the cop the same. I thought he was a missing child story, but he did walk me over to the train station and stayed with me until the train actually arrived. I am male, and used to walk home after a night out drinking. I had long hair and was quite skinny when I was in my early 20s, and one time at about 2 a.m., in a dark location, and I was walking and some guy slows his car right down and drives next to me staring. I told him to fuck off, and at that point I think he realized I was a man and drove off. I am pretty sure if I had been a woman things wouldn't have ended up well. One time I turned around to see what was behind me just out of intuition, and I saw someone step behind a tree rather quickly and try to hide from me. I stood there for a second to confirm this. Then I speed walked home. Fucking creepy. Walking home from a late night gym session at 24 Hours Fitness, a white van passed by me. Slowing down, slowly took a right turn in front of me. A couple minutes later I reach the turn and see the van stopped at the exit of a parking lot. It's facing back my way. It's like 4 a.m. and nothing else is going on, and I'm creeped out. The van starts coasting forward slowly after I make the turn, and I sprint across the street to a gas station and into this small dead-end water/air pump station and press my body against an area of the wall that the van can't quite see me. It literally pulls into the air/water station and stops. I hear the engine running right fucking next to me, but they never get out of the van. I just stand there pressed against the wall until they pull out and drive around the gas station into the lot on the opposite side of the wall. I hear the van lingering for some time before it goes silent. Still I wait a while longer before I leave and run the rest of the way home. I worked night shift for 7 years. One night a young, thin blonde woman was walking down the street at 2 a.m. with no pants or underwear on and a button-up shirt open. I tried to ask if she needed help, and she just stared forward, slowly walking, staring forward. I called the police and they came and stood in front of her, and she slowly walked into the cop's hand and stopped. I didn't stay and went back to work. I still think about her and what the fuck was going on. I tell myself it was sleepwalking on Ambien or something, and that she wasn't just assaulted and in complete shock. I'll never know, but she was very pretty, and seemed well groomed. Was very strange. Dead body on the side of the street with a sign around its neck saying "I'm a cell phone thief. Don't be like me." This was maybe 20 years ago in Manila, Philippines. Happened to my grandfather too. He was walking our dog at 5 a.m. Dog went to do his business near a dark, grassy empty lot, and they found a dead body bound up with a sign on him saying he was a thief. This practice is called salvage in the Philippines. Basically an extrajudicial killing done by policemen or vigilantes on criminals and drug addicts, or suspected criminals. It's basically been going on way before Duterte took office, but it's only with him it was somewhat institutionalized and blatant. Before that, the police didn't brandish it with so much impunity, and didn't dare target teens or grandmothers. Nowadays most of the poor are fair game. If you have money and connections, you can still buy your way out of things. Almost 100% sure I witnessed a kidnapping. I was going to get my mail late at night while living in an apartment complex, and on the way back I noticed a woman in her pajamas surrounded by a few men right by a car. There was an argument and looked like they forced her in the car and drove off. I found her slipper nearby on the grass. I of course called the police and they came, and I let them know what I saw, but I never found out what actually happened. Similar experience here. In high school, late at night walking home from a friend's house maybe a mile away. Halfway car comes cruising super slowly down the street. I hear someone screaming in the car. I was sure they were calling for help. I start following the car, and as I get on the phone with the cops the car starts pumping the gas, so I just run after them and try to follow them, but I lost them pretty quickly. Never learned what really happened. Over 25 years ago, I was walking in a park at night. It was pitch black in this park, no lighting, other than the moon and the stars on a beautiful autumn night. I couldn't see very well, but I knew the area, and was walking along the road, which ran parallel to a small river. The moonlight would bounce off the water, and all you would hear is the trickle from the slow-running river and slight breeze in the trees. I loved those walks. That was until the one night, in the dead silence and pitch black, I distinctly hear a man's voice out of the woods say very clearly, "Young girls shouldn't go walking alone in the woods at night." I froze. I looked in the direction of the voice and couldn't see a damn thing. I ran home. That was the last evening walk I took in that park.